Hi everyone, welcome to Dr. Knit Podcast episode 1. I'm Vero. I'm based in Philadelphia. I've been a knitter since maybe 2 years, and I decided today I would give podcast a try. So I thought that maybe I could introduce myself, and then I'll go over what I finished recently, what I'm working on right now, and maybe a couple of the last yarn I acquired. So like I said, my name is Vero. This is short for Veronique. I'm French Canadian. I moved to Philly in the US maybe 4 years ago for work. So I'm a cell biologist. I did all my grad school in Sherbrooke, Canada, and I moved here as a postdoctoral fellow at University of Pennsylvania. So I've been working here since 4 years now. I love it, and our goal is definitely to move back to Canada. And I want to open my own lab and be a professor in a university somewhere in Quebec, hopefully. So I'm here with my boyfriend Benoit and our little daughter Delphine that will be turning 2 in April. And she's mostly the reason why I got into knitting. So when I was pregnant with her, I was feeling that urge to do something with my hand for her. And one of my friends, Meredith, was really into knitting since a while, and she got me excited about it. So I started knitting mostly with the goal to be doing stuff for Delphine. And I got really totally addicted to fibers, to knitting, and since then I've been knitting, I would not say every day. There's of course weeks with a newborn and after that a toddler that are more difficult for that, but I try to knit as much as I can. So I mostly do accessories and sweater, I would say. I tried socks. I feel like it's a really long knit for me, so I've not knit that much socks, but it's definitely something I want to get into. I have a lot of sock yarn in my stash, and hopefully I'll get to that in the next couple of months. So I knit a lot of different things. I love cable a lot. I love color work. I love lace pattern. My goal in a way is always to, every time I get a new pattern, is to try to learn something new in that. So yeah, that's kind of the way I see knitting. Of course, there's pattern I come back to that I really like, but most of the time I try to be knitting something new. So what I'm wearing today is the Bendy Arrow. So this is a pattern, a really nice shawl that has been designed by Charlotte Bory. Originally, it's supposed to be knit in 2 different colors, so maybe I show you from one edge to another. But I decided to do it in 3, just because I thought that that little kind of pink pop of color here was really nice. So I used 3 different yarn. The first one, the main color, the blue one, is from Asselin, is the Fino base in the color Azul. And I used 2 Canopy fingering from the Fibre company, one of my favorite fingering yarn. In fact, it has baby alpaca in it, and I really love it. So this is the colorway Dragonfruit, and this is Orchid. The 2 ones that I got to my local yarn shop here in Philly, Loop, that has also an online store if you want to check them out. I'll put the address here in the bottom. So that was probably, I think, one of the first shawl I did, and I really like it, especially when it's a little bit cold, or if I'm wearing kind of a boring outfit. I like to just be throwing that on me and having kind of a pop of color. So I forgot to mention, and I'll put that in the bottom, but you can find me on Ravelry under Coccinella007, and on Instagram, that is probably where I'm the most active, under Verogiro13. So yeah, please, you're welcome to follow me if you're interested, and we'll see if that's of interest for anyone. Maybe I'll give that a try, and maybe we'll start like a group on Ravelry and thing like that. But we'll see how that goes, I think, for today, and we'll go from there. So yeah, so maybe I was gonna show you the 2 most recent thing I finished, I think. So since the beginning, I've been knitting quite a lot of sweaters, but mostly baby sweaters though. A lot of my friends are in age of reproducing themselves. So I had a lot of knitting to do for baby. But the first adult size sweater I did was for Benoit, my boyfriend. So I decided to go with one of the most classical sweater pattern there is out there, the Flax Sweater from Tin Can Knits. So you can see that this has been knit a lot of time. It's a really nice, like, basic kind of pattern. So I use it a lot also for baby sweater, where I will just kind of tweak it a little bit to whatever I like to do. So I knit that in Tosh, Madelinetosh, vintage, probably one of my favorite worsted yarn. It's really drapey, it's really soft, it's amazing to work with. So I love it. And this is the colorway charcoal. It's a really nice gray that has also a nuance of lighter gray and black. Maybe not black, but really dark gray. And it does an amazing job. So I knit between two sizes because it was kind of in between. So I just did the mat and kind of decided the number of stitches I would need. So I did the original pattern, so with a garter on the sleeves and the regular one. So it's really nice, and you can see pictures of the finished product on my Ravelry page. I'm quite sure I put that on there a couple of weeks ago. So that was my first adult sweater. I knit one for myself since then. Probably I'll show that to you if I decide to do a second episode and I can wear it and show you guys in more details. So that was the Fireside pullover from Jane Richmond, but I'll get to that probably in the next podcast. Just gonna get rid of that because it's really warm in here. So the second thing I wanted to show you is another pattern from Tin Can Knits. I really love them because mostly all of their pattern is designed from baby to XXL size, so it's nice. You buy them, they have a lot free as well, and you can just knit it several times for different people. So that's really nice, and they're really nicely written. It's really good. Like when I started, probably the first year I was knitting, I would say that 90% of what I knitted was from them because it's amazing. It's each detail is there and you're really able to just learn through that, and they have a lot of tutorial online also. So yeah, so check them out. So the other thing I wanted to show you is the Bon Toque. So that's a really nice hat, and they have two different designs, and the one for male looks like that, but like you can see, it has quite of a big cable, and I'm not a big fan of that, like your regular type of cable. So I prefer when it's always the same thing. So I took their dimension, the number of stitch I want to do, and then I just did the cable length, but I did it every 8 rows instead of having like really close by here and then a long one and another couple of short ones. I wanted it to be more uniform. So yeah, so I knit that for Benoit as well. So this is from Malabrigo Rios, a really nice fingering yarn. This is kind of different nuance of green, khaki greens and lighter green. I did also the ribbing a little bit longer than what they were asking for because I wanted to be sure it would really come low on the ear and keeping warm in those couple of cold days we had in Philly here. Nothing compared to what I'm used to in Canada, but it's been quite cold, so it was nice to have something for him to wear recently. So that's mostly what I've been finishing recently. So I was gonna show you 4 of the work in progress I have. I'm the type of knitter that have usually a lot of things on my needles. Usually half of them are hibernating, as we could say, or I've not touched since several weeks, and I would even say months. And usually there's at least 2 or 3 that I'm kind of working more regularly. So the first one I was going to show you is the Gramps cardigan, again by Tin Can Knit. So you can see how much I love them. So it's a really cute pattern, especially I think for baby boys. It has this really like old look with the big cowl and the little pocket, and they have patch on the elbow. I think it's really cute. And yeah, so one of our co-worker is having a baby soon. So I thought I was gonna knit that for their baby boy. So he's due in beginning of April, and I was gonna do the 0-6 months, but then I thought that in Philly it's already spring and even summer at that time. So I was gonna knit the 6-12 months size just to be sure that he can wear it quite a long time, probably in the fall. So I decided to go, it takes 2 color, a main color and a contrast color. And I went again with Malabrigo Rios. It's Rios. It's superwash merino, and it's quite affordable, I would say. So I really like to work with them, especially for baby sweater, because they're gonna wear it at max like 20 times. So I like having something a little bit more affordable, and that will be also easy to wash in the washing machine if people are not big fan of hand wash. So this is the 2 colors. So this is gonna be my main color, and this is gonna be the contrast color. So that colorway is Cielo Terra, and this is Azul Profundo. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a really nice mix, and I'm loving our That's Knitting Up. It has a lot of brown and gray and blue, and I'll show you just in a second how it looks. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a really nice contrast without being too much neither. But yeah, so it's looking really amazing right now. And of course I'm in the middle of a row, so it won't be that easy to show. But I just put the sleeves on hold, and I'm doing the body right now. But I think it's looking great. The It's Knitting Up is really amazing. And my coworker he's always wearing blues and like beige and brown colors. So hopefully he really likes that colorway. I think it's gonna be a really nice gift. So yeah, so I'm excited by that. And that's mostly what I've been working on the last couple of days. If not, I decided to finally try my first Stephen West pattern. And I decided to go with the Lumpy Space Shawl. So Stephen West, everyone knows him, obviously. And a lot of his patterns are amazing, but they're often needed in really poppy colors. And it's hard for me to see, or it would look in more normal color or color a little bit more of what I like, but I decided to give it a try, and this is because of Espace Tricot, a shop in Montreal that have a podcast maybe since half a year or something like that, and she decided to knit hers, Melissa, in 3 colors instead of 4, and I had bought that yarn from Julie Asselin a couple of months ago, and it was gonna go in a shawl, but I've not got to it yet, so I thought that would be perfect. So this is our single ply. It's called Millis, the base. This is Kaleidoscope. In the middle you have Biarritz, and this is London. And the speckle one has really nice speckle, and it's looking quite amazing. So yeah, so I'm really happy with that. And it's coming up quite good, to be honest. I'm really happy about it. So maybe I can show you the pattern a little bit, just so you get a feeling of how it looks. So that's how it looks on someone. And this is all open. So it has this kind of square in the middle, and then kind of a middle that have different color from the outside. And it has a peacock bind off that I think I'm probably gonna just do an I-cord, because I'm not a big fan of peacock to knit and to wear neither. So I think I'm probably gonna be more conservative with that. So I decided to go with 3 colorways like I explained. So the Biarritz is in the middle, alternating with the Kaleidoscope, and now I just started the part with the gray, the London, and that's gonna kind of tie together the whole thing. And I'm probably gonna do the I-cord bound off in that little green, and I think that's gonna look quite good, I think. So I love It's Knitting Up. Julie Asselin is amazing. Her base are to die for. Her color is also what I love. It's like in between the solid and a speckle. So a lot of variegated colorways, and I love that. Like I like speckles once in a while, but I'm not like crazy about it. And I know people are probably gonna shoot at me because speckles is everywhere right now, but yeah, I prefer something a little bit more like in tonal colors. So yeah, so I love her, and I've been really enjoying that project. It's been sleeping maybe for a week or two, and probably I'll get back to it quite soon, I'm quite sure. So if not, the other thing I wanted to share with you guys is a sweater I've been working on for Delphine. Um, so I almost always have a sweater for Delphine on my needles, to be honest, because kids just look so cute in knit sweaters, let's be honest. And they take so much shorter to knit. That is really fun because you have a hand-done project quite fast. It looks amazing. It doesn't take too much yarn. So yeah, I love it. So I decided to go with the really famous pattern right now, the So Faded Pin Side by Andrea Mowry. And I don't have to explain too much because everyone is aware of the fade. But I've been thinking about this since months, and I was really looking into trying to find a perfect fade, because I like these fades that have a really smooth transition and you don't have this, you don't see in fact where you're transitioning, and it's not perfect. To be honest, I'll show you what it looks like so far, and I'll explain a little bit, or I'm planning on fixing it the next time. So this is my fade for Delphine sweater. So I went with 4 colors instead of 5. That is mostly what she did in our pattern. So this is Dragonfly fibers that I got here at my local yarn shop in the colorway Riptide. This is Malabrigo Mechita in Azul, Profundo, the same blue in fact that I have in the Gramps cardigan. I really love blue. You'll see that I knit a lot of things in blue. This is Madelinetosh Merino Light in Mandala color, and this is Malabrigo Mechita, and I'm forgetting the color, so I'm just gonna look at it for a second to be sure that you guys have it in case you're interested. So it's Musas. So yeah, so it goes from kind of a green, blue, aqua, to a dark blue, to a blue that has also purple and the same color that you have here, and then I'm finishing with the purple. And this is how it looks so far. So I think the fade is not too bad. It's worse the first step here, and I'm not really enjoying that as much as I would like, but I think after that the fade is really good. So we don't see where we're transitioning, and I think that's amazing. So like you can see, I just have to finish the sleeves and do the caul here, and that's gonna be done. So I'm really happy with the result. So I just need to get back on it. And yeah, so like I was saying, I'm not a big fan of the transition here. I wish it was a little bit smoother. And you'll see that I recently acquired another color that I think could be put here to make that smoother. And I can show that a little bit later when I talk about the acquisition I made recently. So yeah, because I'm thinking of probably using the same colorways to do one of her shawl, probably the freer shawl, the freer fade, because it's blue and I love blue. So so yeah, and the last project I wanted to share with you guys is another one from Andrea Mowry, and is the Weekender. So that pullover that everyone literally has been knitting so far. So let me just turn it out for you guys. Oh, maybe I can show you the pattern. So it's a really nice boxy sweater that you wear. She suggests 10-inch of positive ease. So it looks really good, and in the back there's also another picture I think looks amazing. So I think that's gonna be the perfect sweater for weekends. like walking and going to the playground with Delphine. Sorry guys, Delphine woke up, so we needed mommy for a couple of minutes. But yeah, I'm back. So yeah, so I started The Weekender by Andrea Mowry. And it looks gorgeous. So I don't have that much done so far. I chose a yarn I got from my local yarn shop from Dragonfly Fibers, their Valkyrie base in the color Wine Country. And it's this really nice, it's a red wine color, let's be honest. It's like a deep red, burgundy, light black. It's really amazing. So it's this really nice like reverse stockinette that you have kind of a full seam in the middle and in the back. And we'll have this little opening on the side where the back is kind of bigger than the front. So I think that looks gorgeous. It's a little bit boring in a way, to be honest, especially since there's 10-inch of positive ease. The round is quite long, especially for even in roasted yarn. So I think that's probably gonna hibernate a little bit. But yeah, I'm crazy happy I started it finally. I've been thinking about it for so long. But yeah, so I'm really excited. So that's the 4 things I have on my needles. And hopefully I have one of these that will be finished by the time I podcast again. So I was just gonna finish by showing you some of the little acquisition I did recently. So like I mentioned, I'm a scientist. I'm currently looking for a professor position in Canada, so I've been traveling quite a lot back and forth to Quebec since November. So I was there this week, beginning of the week, and I went to Espace Tricot. So this is quite an amazing yarn shop in Montreal, in Canada. They have a lot of different yarns. It's quite a little bit overwhelming the first time you go. But they have basically almost everything you need. And they have also an online store, so I'll put their web link here in the bottom, and you guys can check them out if you're interested. But yeah, so there's a lot of yarn I like from Canadian and Dyer. And unfortunately, shipping is quite expensive. So usually when I go to Montreal or somewhere else in Quebec, either visiting family or something like that, I'll try to just stop in a local yarn shop and see if they have some of my favorite, so I can bring some home with me. So yeah, so Espace Tricot also publishes a lot of free pattern, kind of basic knitting in a way, but really interesting patterns sometimes that are in fact really simple, but that give quite a good results. And they've been publishing, a couple of months ago, they published a hat pattern that is in fact just a rib 1x1 pattern, but it looks good. And it's called the On the Sea Train hat. And they do it with wool folk 4. This is the color 10. It's kind of a blue-gray I got. And they strand it with some mohair. Mohair and silk from Shibui, the silk cloud. And I took kind of a dark navy. So I'm gonna knit these two together and probably do the pattern I was just talking about. And also Sandy from By the Lakeside podcast did one recently and really looked amazing. It was kind of in the back of my head since a while. So I decided to finally give it a try. So that was my first acquisition. After that, I got, of course, some Julie Asselin. I already said how much I love everything she does. And she has some on her Etsy shop, but not that much. So you mostly have to buy her in store. There's some store in the US that carry her, so you can check her out. But Espace Tricot has quite a good selection. So yeah, so I got her Fino base. So this is Merino as well as silk and cashmere. Yeah, cashmere. And fingering. And this is the colorway Weekend. And this is all the color I like. Blue, light gray. It looks really good. I have no clue what I'm gonna do with it, but it had to come home with me. Yeah, so that's the second thing I did. The last two things are from Tennis Fiber Arts. So this is a company from Tennis La Vallée, also based in Montreal, and she has now her husband working with her. And she has really interesting colorways. So I bought two from her. The first one is a roasted weight yarn in the base she called Pure Wash Roasted. So this is a new process to do super wash that is more better for the environment. So I really like the idea. So this is a quite new colorway from her, I think, called Prism, and it has pink, lilac, green, a nice pop of blue, a little bit of light gray, lilac-ish, and I'm not sure yet what it's gonna be, but I'm thinking a hat for Delphine. Her head has been going like crazy. Her hat I did recently, or last year for her, is getting small. So I think that's probably gonna be it, because I'm not a big pink fan, so my daughter is often wearing blue and is already, not always, but often taken for a boy. So I thought that maybe with a hat like this, people will start calling her he and stop calling her E and start calling her she. So we'll see how that goes. And the last thing I got is also from Tennis, in our red label. So this is a fingering single ply, and I think that could be the add-on to my fade to make it smoother. So this is the color teal, and that's the same green here that I used for my first color, purple that I used for my last color, and kind of a black dark blue. So maybe I can bring back the So Faded I started for Delphine. And I'm thinking either replacing that blue with this, or making it here and then go with 5 colors. So that one, this one, then the dark blue, because I think the fade here is really good and it looks quite, I'm really happy with this results. But I'm not sure about here. I'm gonna let it like this because I think it's gonna look fine, but if I want to use those color again, I think I'm gonna put that here, and hopefully that's gonna make it smoother. So yeah, so that's the last thing I got. So that's about everything I had for you guys today. So thankfully some of you guys stick with me up to the end. It's been a really nice experience so far. So like I mentioned at the beginning, you can check me out on Instagram or Ravelry. I'll be happy to get comments, suggestions, and if there's interest in whatever type of podcast I wanted to do, probably further on I'll create a group on Ravelry and things like that so we can better communicate. So thanks guys for staying with me, and we'll see you soon. Happy Sunday!